Dadu, southern Pakistan, just a few months ago. A man is caught burning papers to keep warm. Someone says they include pages of the Quran, an act of blasphemy. It's unproved, and police say he may have mental health problems. But an angry mob gathers and stone the man to death. Then burn the body. Police arrest some of the killers, but a local religious leader defends the violence. In Pakistan, blasphemy is a crime which can be punishable by death or life in prison. But we've discovered that many of the people accused of blasphemy are in fact later found to be innocent. And instead of changing or repealing the law, it's being increasingly used in a climate of growing extremism. I'm Evan Williams, and on this edition of 101 East, we meet people whose lives are at risk because of Pakistan's blasphemy law. In Pakistan, it's illegal to make derogatory comments about the Prophet or desecrate the Quran. Anyone accused is usually arrested and jailed, sometimes for years, until the case gets through the courts. Last August, 14-year-old Rimshah Masi, a Christian girl, was accused by a local mullah of burning pages of the Quran. Her young age and a claim she had Down syndrome sparked international attention. Authorities fast-tracked her case. When the High Court threw it out, the government claimed it a success against extremism. For her safety, she was taken to a secret location and now lives in hiding. Basharat is a police officer who went to Rimshah's rescue. His car window still bears witness to the angry crowd that surrounded him in the days after her arrest.
When Rimshah case was finished, after 8 days, some extremist person had attacked on me. Why you handle this case? Why you helped Rimshah? He was blasphemer.
He wants to show me what he says is the hidden fallout of the Rimshah case. In a field outside the capital, we find 300 Christian families from Rimshah's area. As soon as the local mullah made the claim against Rimshah, angry mobs drove these people from their homes. This is now their only source of water. It's cold, wet, they have no work here, and the children are hungry.
खाने का मसला है, बनता ही नहीं है, गीली जगह होती है, चिक्कड़ होता है, ये रोती है जी, फिर कपड़े गीले कर देती है, जल्दी सूखते ही नहीं है.
They all believe property developers used the blasphemy law against Rimshah to get hold of their rented land.
लैंडलॉर्ड लोग जो हैं वो इस मिसयूज़ करते हैं. दूसरे नंबर पे ये जो छोटी बड़ी मुखालफत होती है, उस सिलसिले में इस लॉ को ले आते हैं. मैं क्रिश्चियन हूँ, आप मुस्लिम हैं, आपके साथ मेरी पार्टनरशिप है, कोई बिज़नेस पार्टनरशिप है या कोई दूसरा मेरी कोई ज़ाती रंजिश है, तो मैं इस पे ब्लेम करूँगा कि ये क्रिश्चियन है, इसने तौहीन रसालत की है, तो मैं मस्जिदों में ऐलान करवा दूँगा, मैं इमाम बारगाहों में ऐलान करवा दूँगा कि इसने ये तौहीन रसालत की है.
And such accusations can have deadly consequences.
उन लोगों का जो ये कानून का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, उनके ज़हन में एक ही बात होती है कि जिस बंदे ने तौहीन रसालत की है या नहीं की, उसको मारने से हमें जन्नत मिलती है. और इस वजह से ये लोग वो उसका पीछा करते रहते हैं, चाहे उसको 10 साल बाद मारें या उसी वक्त मार दें, वो उनके जहन में ये होता है कि हम जन्नत में चले गए हैं।
Death at the hands of extremists is a real danger, so many accused of blasphemy flee their homes. Some have come here to this Christian area outside Lahore to seek shelter. Now in a safe house, one of them is Ruqia. Her ordeal started when her daughter got into an argument with another child. The child's parents went to the police and accused Ruqia, a Christian, of blasphemy.
और कुरान पाक आपके पास है, वो दो। मैंने कहा मेरे पास तो है नहीं, मैं क्यों रखूंगी। थले पैर रख के ना दे, उत्ते पैर रख दे, ये थले कुरान रख।
Ruqia spent 3 years in prison waiting for her case to go through the courts. Because she was accused of blasphemy, she claims she was often beaten and starved by pious prison guards.
और मुझे किसी से बात भी नहीं करने देते थे और मेरी मुलाकात भी बिल्कुल बंद थी। पता चल गया अभी अब मैं बच्चों से नहीं मिल सकती।
When Ruqia finally appeared in the High Court, she was acquitted due to lack of evidence, but her life had been destroyed.
जब मैं बाहर आई देखा है इतने बड़े हो गए हैं, इनको मेरा पता ही नहीं है मेरी मम्मा कौन सी, ये दोनों को नहीं पता था। जब मैं आई मैंने कहा इधर आओ मेरे पास, ये मेरे पास नहीं आया, ये भी मेरे पास नहीं आ रही थी। फिर मैं रोना शुरू हो गई, मैंने कहा मेरे बच्चे ही भूल गए। और फिर आस्ता आस्ता मैं अपने आप को कंट्रोल करना शुरू हो गई कि मैं अपने बच्चों के पास आई, मैं बच्चों को कोई तमीज़ बताऊं अपने खुदा का, इनको पता हो हमारा खुदा है। फिर ये बच्चे अब इनको पता है मेरी मम्मा है।
While Ruqia tries to rebuild her family, others are suffering from similar charges. We went to a Christian area on the outskirts of the capital to meet some. To arrange to meet the family of a man who's in prison on blasphemy charges. They were too afraid for us to come to the area where they're living because they're saying there are many Muslim extremists there. So we've had to come to another area, a slum area outside Islamabad. Noah Bhutti's husband Zafar was arrested 6 months ago after being accused of sending a blasphemous text message to an extremist Muslim.
नहीं सर बिल्कुल साढ़े बेकसूर जे मेरा शोहर जड़ा ना बहुत मतलब है कि खुदा दी खिदमत करदा सी ते पास्टर से मतलब कि उन्होंने सानू ताकर नहीं पता हैगा भी ऐस सिम्मा दा जा करन दा सानू कोई पता नहीं जे जड़ा उते।
Nawab and Zafar's sisters say he was helping a Christian woman caught up in a property dispute with a powerful group in Lahore that threatened to accuse Zafar of blasphemy to get him out of the way.
जहाँ से पकड़ा वहाँ लोगों ने मालिक मकान को पता, उन्होंने बोला कि हमने पक्की इस पे ये तो हुई रसालत डाल दी।
When they visit Zafar in prison, officers taunt them, saying he's on death row.
कलेजे हमारे चीरा जाता है जब हम ये सुनते हैं कि हमारा भाई जिंदा और ये बातें हमें सुनने को मिलती हैं। बहुत सारे लोग हैं वहाँ पर अपने का दर्द होता है।
Today they're heading to the jail to visit Zafar. They're worried because last time he told them he had heart trouble. And because this is a blasphemy case, the women say extremists are now threatening them as well.
क्योंकि हम उससे इतना प्यार करते हैं कि हमने अपनी जानों को भी नहीं किया कि हम जहाँ हमें बुलाते हैं हम वहाँ जाते हैं, चाहे जितना मर्जी खतरा हो।
Most of those accused of blasphemy in Pakistan spend years in jail awaiting a hearing, and almost every case is eventually thrown out due to lack of evidence. But there are some people trying to intervene to prevent people going to jail in the first place. From Islamabad, Rizwan and Xavier run a small crisis group that helps people accused of blasphemy. Today they're checking in on a man they moved to a safe house after he was driven from his village by an angry mob. Michael recently opened a bookshop, but says his old boss soon accused him of burning the Quran.
पहले काम करता था उसके साथ ना, तो फिर अपनी दुकान डाली हमने इधर ना, दुकान की वजह फिर उसके बाद जालसबाजी उसने की, वो इस वजह से मेरे पे इल्ज़ाम लगा दिया उन्होंने.
Michael and his wife tell no one what they've been accused of for fear of more attacks. They barely let the children out of this compound. They want to leave Pakistan. This is just one of dozens of cases Xavier is dealing with. In all cases, he says the police jail the accused without actually investigating.
Unfortunately, in our system, if a person has accused anybody, and he simply has to go, and if the police ask him can you prove it, he simply has to put his hand on the Quran and has to say that this person did it. They believe him.
The main Muslim sect in Pakistan has a devotional commitment to the Prophet. It makes many of the devout quick to leap on accusations of blasphemy. But in most cases, the accused is innocent.
Let's be very clear of it. Blasphemy, as it is operative in Pakistan, has got nothing to do with respect of the Prophet or God or Quran or anything Islamic. It's about personal power, personal privileges, period.
Author Aisha Siddiqa is one of the few willing to speak out about the way the blasphemy law is used.
It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous that if I have scores to settle, I could accuse you of blasphemy and then it's goodbye. It's like death in making.
Death is a danger even for those in prison awaiting trial on blasphemy charges. Xavier has brought me to meet Tabassum David. Her husband Kamar was jailed on what she says was another false charge of blasphemy.
मारा भी उनको, अंदर जेल में मारते भी थे उनको. तो मुझे वो रोते थे जब भी जाती थी ना उनकी मुलाकात के लिए, मैं और मेरे बच्चे, तो कहते थे ना आया कर, क्योंकि वो धमकियां देते थे अंदर कि तेरे बच्चों को और तेरे खानदान को भी मार देंगे हम लोग.
Just before he was due to be released, someone rang her pretending to be her husband.
तो फिर दोबारा उस बंदे ने मुझे फ़ोन किया, कहता मैं कमर अब कभी आपसे बात, पठान की आवाज़ थी, किसी पठान की आवाज़ थी. तो फिर उसने फ़ोन बंद कर दिया और उसके पूरे 8 दिन के बाद कमर को जेल में इन्होंने मार दिया.
The prison said Kamar died of a heart attack, but pictures of his body show signs of strangulation. Xavier tells me that in the past 20 years, at least 52 people accused of blasphemy have been murdered across Pakistan, 4 of them killed while in custody. Most of the people we've met so far were Christians, but 3/4 of those accused of blasphemy in Pakistan are Muslims. Most are too afraid to speak, but there is a group willing to help us. So we've come to Central Lahore to meet an organisation which works with people who've been accused of blasphemy. They run safe houses and also help them in legal battles. Hi. Joseph Francis is a Christian, but his organisation, called Class, is open to people accused of blasphemy from all religions.
Last year I visited in the 13th jail and 96 people is the only for victim of blasphemy. The all bad condition. Even if the family member is not visit, this is a very bad.
Why?
And a very bad because of the threats.
Do you think those people did actually commit blasphemy?
No. Only 2 people. Because it's a mentally disturbed.
Because of mental problems. The number of people seeking help has been rising since the law was hardened to include the death penalty 20 years ago. How many cases of blasphemy have there been since 1986 and now?
Yeah, around about 2000, above 2000, but the class is handling the 120 cases.
So around 2,000 cases, and every year does that number get more or less?
No, every year is increased.
Today Joseph is meeting Syed Shah. He was an influential religious leader until members of a rival Muslim sect accused him of blasphemy and things turned violent.
फिर उन लोगों ने मेरे खिलाफ ये प्रोपेगेंडा किया और हमारे घर पर हमला किया गया शहर में जुलूस निकाले गए, मस्जिदों में जो उनकी मस्जिदें हैं, जो अड्डे बनाए हुए हैं उन लोगों ने, वो वहाँ से ऐलान करवाए गए मेरे खिलाफ। हमारे बच्चों को खतरे में डाल दिया गया, हमारी जिंदगियां तबाह कर दी गई।
His brother Ashraf tells me extremist religious leaders are increasingly using the blasphemy law to gain influence, money and to expand their support. Shah has been acquitted, but extremists consider him guilty simply because of the accusation.
उन्होंने खुलम खुला ऐलान किया हुआ है कि इनको कत्ल कर दो, इनको मार दो।
वो तो सारा कुछ देख लिया।
मीटिंग्स अभी तक होती हैं कि जनाब दूसरा जन्नत ही खट लवो, पंजाबी दे विच बैठ के करदे हैं कि शाह मतलब कि बरी होया फिरदा वा, मतलब आया है इत्थे।
हालांकि उनका तो मुतालबा था शाह को कत्ल करो।
Given the severity of what's happening, I came to Lahore to find out what religious leaders feel about the blasphemy law and the way it's being used. Hafiz Ashrafi heads one of the most powerful religious bodies, the Ulama Council. He says the law is meant to prevent physical attacks.
I am in favor of this law, but I am not in favor of the procedure.
He tells me the problem is the police are not investigating before they arrest an accused under a first information report or FIR.
We thinking must be change the procedure. Before the FIR, you must be investigate properly the man or woman or anyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, he is blasphemer or not. Because there is, we've seen in the more than 1,500 cases, mostly he is against the personal things, not because of blasphemy. If you need my property, then you using this law, and that is very bad. And we need the government and our political people, religious leadership, political leadership, our parliamentarians sitting on this, and must be changed, because now the court telling that.
But some politicians who have tried to change it or even just discuss the law have paid a heavy price. Salman Taseer was the governor of Pakistan's most populous province, Punjab. He took up the case of Azia Noreen, a Christian woman accused of blasphemy.
I was actually with my father when he found out about the case.
Shahbaz Taseer is Salman's daughter.
He felt very strongly that there was a grave injustice being done here, and you know, we went to visit her in jail. My father took myself and my mother along, and it was so sad what had happened to her. She was trying to drink water out of the same well as these Muslim women, and a lot of Muslims consider Christians to be unclean. So they had this dispute, and there was an exchange of words, and she told us that the next thing she knew, there was this blasphemy allegation on her. He was the governor of Punjab. It was his constitutional duty to protect this woman. So he spoke out against these laws. He felt that they were being misused far too often. And when he spoke out, the clerics, the religious right, they flared up. And they started having protests, and they burnt him in effigy. It was like this wave of crazy, angry clerics who had carried out this witch hunt against him.
One of those angry clerics was this man who delivered a sermon near the capital. Watching the sermon that day was Mumtaz Qadri, a conservative Muslim and a security guard.
He had requested to be in my father's security detail that day. He waited for a moment when he had, my father close enough, and as my father was exiting the restaurant, he opened fire on him.
Taseer was killed instantly, a horrifying indication of how dangerous even debating the blasphemy law has become. thousands gathered to hail Qadri a hero. As he entered the High Court, he was showered with petals.
It was so frightening. There was just all these black coats, and they were kind of throwing petals on him, and screaming, and it was so horrifying.
One of those in the crowd was lawyer Rao Abdul Rahim.
Yes, I threw the rose petal on Mumtaz Qadri.
He defended Qadri in court and is now appealing his death sentence for Taseer's killing.
His job is very sacred for us.
But he's killed a provincial governor. How can you possibly justify that?
Yes, he killed the enemy of Holy Prophet. He killed the person who blasphemer. He killed the person who against my country, who disturbed the peace of my country.
But he was a government minister who was calling for the reform of the law.
Even he is the president, he has the more responsibility than other citizens.
So what did Mumtaz Qadri, what was he was his bodyguard?
His action, yes, he is bodyguard, but his action is that he implement the law, nothing else.
By doing what?
By killing Salman Taseer.
This is something that I will never understand, because he criticized a man-made law. He criticized the rampant misuse of it, and he totally contorted his words and made it out to seem like he had blasphemed just by insulting this law, which is not the case at all. The stories are chilling. They put cases on minors, on mentally handicapped people. I mean, it's just, there's no end to the madness. And so he had, he was the only person who would speak out about these things, highlight these cases, and talk about the need for some kind of change to come about.
What makes the law dangerous is Pakistan's politics. Everyone we met stressed that the blasphemy law is being increasingly deployed as a way for extremists to boost their profile and support. But it's the powerless who most often suffer. I went back to the Christian area to see Shahbaz Bhatti and her sisters, who'd just come back from seeing Zafar in prison. They don't have good news.
आप जो भी पूछेंगे वो ही बता देगा, हाँ मैंने सब कुछ किया है, मैं ही हूँ, ऐसे अगर पता नहीं उसके ज़हन को क्या हो गया, जो हम बोलते हैं उसका जवाब नहीं वो दे रहा।
जेल में पहले बहुत उसके ऊपर जुल्म हुआ, मारा उसको बहुत, मनाने के लिए उसकी गलती को
मनाया कि मत मारा होंगे तो मारने दो।
Now released, Ruqayya is trying to be the mother she's longed to be. But because she was accused of blasphemy, extremists are still hunting her family.
लाहौर दे विच भी सारे पिंड दे बंदे ने हर एक जगह ते फिरदे ने अपने जिहड़े क्रिश्चियन लोग ने ज़्यादा पैसे दे लालच नूं मर जांदे ने अगे ही इत्थे वन मार्केट रहिंदे उदों भी साडे मगर उन्हां बंदे ला दित्ते सी
अब भी हम कभी जी रहे हैं कभी मार रहे हैं छुप के मकसद के लिए बैठे हुए हैं कि वो उनको पता चल जाएगा। वो कहते हैं गवर्नमेंट ने तुम्हें माफ़ कर दिया, हमने तो नहीं माफ़ किया। मैं अपने बच्चों को लेके एक मुट्ठी में बैठी हुई, मुश्किल से हालात गुजर रहे हैं। अब तो मेरा यही दिल चाहता है, अब तो मैं इकट्ठी हूँ ना, मैं अपने बच्चों को कोई चीज़ दे दूँ और सुकून से सारे सो जाएं और मेरे से मुश्किलों का सामना नहीं किया जाता।
Until someone is able to reform the way this law is used, many more innocent people are likely to suffer.